Now I'm going to start the series of the videos on the breast diseases. In this video, I will discuss only the normal anatomy of the breast, the developmental disorder, the clinical presentation of the breast disease, and the principal signs of the breast carcinoma on the mammograph. The breast has got the basically three features. It is the nutritional support for the infant. It undergoes the periodic changes during the adulthood, during the pregnancy, and start to involuting with the age. The breasts are visible structure having the social, cultural, and the personal significance. It has got the two major structures, the duct and the lobules. Two types of epithelium, luminal and the myoepithelium. Two types of stroma, the intralobular and the interlobular. These are the ducts, and these are the lobules. Within the lobules, the acini are present. The connective tissue or the stroma which is present in the lobule itself is known as intralobular stroma, and the stroma or the connective tissue between the adjacent lobules is known as interlobular stroma. The breast only become mature and functional with the pregnancy, in which the lobules progressively increasing in the size and the number after the 30s, but before the menopause the lobules and the stroma starts to involute. As the age increases, there is a conversion of radiodense fibrous tissues into the radiolucent adipose tissues. In the younger women, the radiodense fibrous tissue is present, and in the older women, the radiolucent adipose tissues are present. If I talk about the menstrual cycle, before the ovulation, the lobules are the quiescent, mean they are not increasing in the size, but after the ovulation, it's because of influence of the estrogen and the progesterone, cell starts to proliferate and the acini per lobules starts to increasing. Now come to the developmental disorders. There are three developmental disorders of the breast: milk line remnants, accessory axillary breast tissue, congenital nipple inversion. What is the milk line remnant? In this, the persistent epidermal thickening is taking place along with the milk line, which result in the supernumerary nipples and the breast. And the number of the nipples and the breast starts to extend from the axilla to the perineum. If I talk about the accessory axillary breast tissues, in which the normal ductal tissue, it starts to extend into the subcutaneous tissues of the chest wall or the axillary fossa. The only treatment is prophylactic mastectomies. If I talk about the congenital nipple inversion, in this the nipple fails to evert. Basically, it's a unilateral condition. It's only corrected by the simple retraction or during the pregnancy. Now come to the clinical presentations of the breast disease. The breast disease is basically present with the three features: pain, palpable masses, or the nipple discharge. If I talk about the pain, the breast pain is known as mastrodynia or the mastalgia. It may be cyclic or it may be non-cyclic. If I talk about it's a cyclic pain, the cyclic pain is always be the diffuse pain and it occur with the premenstrual edema. If I talk about the non-cyclic pain, it is always localized pain, and the causes of the non-cyclic pain are ruptured cyst, physical trauma, infections. Basically, all the painful masses are the benign, but 10% of the breast carcinoma are present with the pain. If I talk about the palpable masses, three causes of the palpable masses are the cyst, fibroadenomas, and the invasive carcinomas. The fibroadenomas are usually present in the premenopausal women, and the invasive carcinoma are usually present in the women younger than the 40, but the 10% chances are the 10%, and in the women older than the 50 years, and the chances are the 60%. Now come to the nipple discharge. If the nipple discharge is a unilateral or the spontaneous, the main cause may be the carcinomas. Nipple discharge may be milky, bloody, or serous. If I talk about the milky, this is known as the galactorrhea. It's due to the increased level of the prolactin level. The cause may be pituitary adenomas, hypothyroidism, endocrine and ovulatory syndrome, use of oral contraceptive, tricyclic antidepressants, methyl dopa, which is an emergency drug in the pregnancy for the hypertension, phenothiazines. If I talk about the blood and the serous discharge, the cause may be large duct papillomas, cyst, or maybe the pregnancy because of the rapid growth and the remodeling of the breast. The palpable masses are 50% palpable masses are present in the upper outer quadrant of the breast, and the 10% are present in all other quadrants, and the 20% of masses are present in the subareolar region. Now come to the principal signs of the breast carcinoma on the mammograph. There are two signs are present on the mammograph, the densities and the calcifications. If I talk about the densities are formed when the adipose tissues are replaced by the radiodense tissues. As you know, as the age of the woman increases, the radiodense fibrous tissues start to replace by the adipose tissues. But in the breast lesions or the breast carcinoma, these adipose tissues is again starts replacing with the radiodense tissues. If these densities are the rounded, this means the lesion is a benign, and this may be the fibroadenomas and the cyst. And these lesions, if irregular masses, this means invasive carcinomas. If I talk about the calcifications are basically formed on the secretions if there is a necrotic debris or hyalinized stroma. It may be associated with the benign lesions or the malignant lesions. If I talk about the benign lesions, it may be the clusters of apocrine cyst or the hyalinized fibroadenomas. If I talk about the malignant lesions, this may be small, irregular, numerous clusters. Why the 10% of invasive carcinoma are not detected by the mammography? The causes are the location close to the chest wall, surrounding radiodense fibrous tissues as in the younger humans, small size, diffuse infiltrative pattern with little or no desmoplastic, no disordered growth, or the lesion is present in the periphery of the breast. If I talk about the ultrasonography will distinguish between the solid and the cystic lesions and clearly define border of the solid lesions. If I talk about the MRI will detect the tumor vascularity and increase blood flow.